Hey, Dean. Yeah, you too? Yeah. You know that I'm doing commentary, right? Okay, good. Yeah. Oh, good. Not a shit for me. Yeah, it's better. It's just painful, but other than that, not really anything I can do about it. It is what it is. Just some painkillers, that's it. I was driving like 20 minutes today. That was okay. After 20 minutes was done, but like yeah, like for like F1 driving just my team, I did a short quali, and after that my shoulder was in pain, but it's okay. It happens. No! The force feedback! Mate, the force feedback was there! I felt it. I did, in my team, I did a drift challenge, mate. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I spun, hit the wall, and when I was going into reverse to get the car back on track, the wheel snapped and I just got my left arm out of the way. Boy, that was snapping hard. That was so bad. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Einstein League, rounds number 6 and 7. Tonight we are in Abu Dhabi and Singapore. We hope for a lot of crashes and safety cars. For a lot of binning. And unfortunately, it's dry in Abu Dhabi. As we see all the rich kids in the F1 paddock club cheering, clapping hands, and sucking each other off. I hope so. I hope so. I hope that everyone can hear me. I hope so. Yeah, people can hear me. 5 red lights are out. No formation lap because of the glitch. Sepdeck P1. Dirt on P2. Almost catching Sepdeck's rear there. Walter be already up to P2. We heard so something happened. Dirt on already. With 3 seconds, lost the position to Tiny and Scientist. He's in deep shit mix here. Down into the new left-hander, which is now turn 4, I think. Spinella, it's Harvey, who has spun on the exit of that long left-hander coming onto the main straight. Tiny warming up his tires a little bit here. They're all starting on cold tires because the formation lap is off. It's off because of the sound glitch, and that means everyone is starting on cold tires. Dirt on P5 now. Gonna activate the full track map and, of course, telemetry. Rob right behind Dirt with jumping on board down the inside. Keeping that car on track, holding the line. Dirt still side by side with Rob, leaving each other space. Very clean driving. Got Raisin in P7. He's having a look. He's having a smell. And I think he touched Rob's rear end. Dirt completely overshooting the corner. Now has to go wide, side by side. It's Walter who DNFs at the end of lap 1, and there's a virtual all full course safety car. 5-second penalty for Ichikli for collision with Raisin. Very unfortunate, probably will get removed because that was just shut. And Raisin and Ichikli will get the 5 seconds probably removed in the pits, as we have a few guys in the pit lane now. The 5 seconds getting removed now. So let's see who stayed on track. Tiny Sepdeck, Scientist, that's your top 3. Durdan stayed out, Ichikli stayed out. Yor stayed out. Dean stayed out up to P7 now. Jeff in P8. Rob, the first one of the pit lane. Boise's now in P8. Casto pitted for fresh mediums. Baruch, Sebastian, Harvey, Raisin and Berry all in the pits. Now they have to watch their delta. Walter B DNF'd at the end of lap 1. That was the reason for the safety car. So your top 5 is on fresh soft tires. You're in P6 on mediums, Dean in P7 on fresh softs, Jeff also still on fresh mediums, and everyone who already has pitted is now on fresh mediums. Rob to Raisin. Only Barry went on to the hard tire because he probably started on mediums, and Raisin and Harvey are going at each other because it's now green, so we have no safety car, just a virtual one. The game is shit. Thank you, Colt Masters. You're the best. And Harvey is attacking Raisin. Trying around the outside. No switch back for him. The rear snapped, so he has to survive that. Scientist, Durdan going against each other. Oh, Scientist in the pits. 3 seconds for Durdan on top of that, but Scientist in the pits. Why? Probably a wing change. It is a wing change and fresh mediums for him. Durdan up to P4 now again. You're right behind him. He's going for it down the inside. Dean behind, having a way better entry into the corner, but Durdan actually coming back. Or not. Where is he? We can't find him. There he is. He's still ahead of You're using a lot of ERS. He doesn't want to lose any time here. But let's see what happens. Still side by side, leaving each other enough space. Dean is smelling some shit going on here. He's right behind Durdan, almost losing the rear end. And Dean now with DRS and ERS. Now he has to catch Durdan. But of course, Durdan using almost all of his ERS here just to stay close to Yor by missing another apex, which opens the door on the inside for Dean, who has a much better exit. Maybe goes for the switch. No, stays outside because Durdan is lifting on the inside, which looked a little bit weird, but at the end of the day, Dean is through. Durdan P6 behind him. Harvey just overtook Sebastian together with Raisin. And now the gap from Raisin to Bruges is over 2.5 seconds. That's the first time there's kind of a gap, clean air. So Harvey and Raisin will be pushing each other hard. Sector 1, yellow flags. That is Ichikle. He spun, classic move, out of turn 2 into turn 3. He spun again, his tires are completely done. Now he hits the wall too. He has to be careful to not getting disqualified here by going the wrong way. Down to P10 now for the moment. Raisin and Harvey both overtaking him now. So he's down to P12 now. As Durdan is really close behind Dean here. Trying the switchback. Trying not the switchback. But he will have the DRS now, which is crucial for him. He is on the inside using all of his ERS. I think they touched a little bit there. Let's see if Durdan can hold the position. Dean down the inside. Durdan with a snap on the rear. Spinalla. And that is P5 gone. He's doing 360s here. Don't know why. And now he's looking for first gear. Down to P13 now. Rejoining the track safely, letting scientists by. Now P15. Jeff with 3 seconds to his name now in P5. As the closest battle on track now is Sebastian against Ichikle. Teammates. Ichikle staying on the inside here. He has massive wing damage. And he needs to pit, which he does. Almost missing the pit entry here. And we had Castro pretty close behind Rob, but he must have made a mistake here. And Spinalla from Castro. The good thing is, Castro, your Spinalla for the night already been ticked, so You can now finish the race. He's, oh, crucially, he's losing the position against Raisin. That's not good. If you want to lose a position, definitely not against Raisin. And he has Harvey right behind him. So now he's in deep shit mix. He has the DRS on Raisin. But will he really catch him? Raisin using a lot of ERS to stay in front. What will Caster do? Just stay behind? Seems like it. In the meantime, we have Sebastian really close behind Barry Kruger, but getting a 3-second time penalty now. Oh, yeah, that was a bad one. His tires been hooked to the curb while braking, which is horrible with ABS off, because you actually can't brake on the curbs. You just hook to it. You don't lose any speed there, and that's why he went wide. Everyone who uses ABS doesn't know that, of course. Only real men use ABS off. Septek now down to P3 because you overtook him. But Septek will have DRS back on your. Oh, good times for Septek. Second gear, full throttle, no snap on the rear. Mr. TC Medium is back, but Yor has the better exit, can defend, and is settled in P2 now. As Rob just overtook Captain Jeff for P5, and we go back to Casto, who's also going against Raisin now around the outside, but Raisin covering off the inside. Oh, snap for both, and Harvey now wants to have a piece of the cake. Round the outside, breaking up the curb too, just made it, but still behind Castro. Tiny pitting from P1 on his soft tires. They're done now. He's pitting. Septek also pitting. Tiny will be coming out right in that pack. He's right in front of Raisin and right behind Jeff on cold tires. Let's see what happens here. He's struggling, of course, on those cold tires, but he has DRS on Jeff, which will help him a lot, and Raisin is pushing. But Tiny needs to overtake Jeff now and put him between himself and Raisin. But of course, he's cautious because he doesn't want to spin on cold tires. There's a little bit of a shit mix going on. Jeff trying to stay out of the way. Has his teammate... Where is his teammate? His teammate fucking spun! Raisin overtook Tiny. Casto on the inside. Harvey spun. What the fuck is going on? Barry in the pits. Not in the pits, that's a lie. Septek has overtaken Barry. That's the truth. So your lead at the moment is Yor on 7-lap old softs. Dean on 7-lap old mediums. Dean on 7-lap old softs in P2. Still staying out. Maybe hoping for another safety car, which will probably save him a podium here. As Barry Kruger is very close behind Mr. Septek. Someone's losing positions. Harvey. He must have damaged his wing when he decided to spin his car. Correct English. As Baruch has overtaken Jeff now for P7. And Casto really close behind Raisin here for the second DRS zone. Raisin is on 24%. ERS Casto on around 30. Using the DRS, but staying behind Raisin. He won't attack him. As Tidy has now found some grip on his tires. He is right behind Casto. And his tires are just 1 lap old. Castor's are 6 laps old. Same for Raisin and Rob. Spinalla, yellow flags. That is Rob. See you later, girl. Down to P6. That's the shit mix for you, sir. He was in P3. He binned it. P6 for him. As Dean is now pitting for fresh medium tires. He will be coming out around Septek, which will be P8 roundabout. But of course, he's on cold tires, so he needs to be very careful. Septek and Barry overtook him. Sebastian is the one who will be right behind him, together with Scientist. But Sebastian and Scientist have 6 and 7 lap old mediums. Dean just needs 1 lap to get those tires on temperature, and then he can attack Barry Kruger and the rest of the pack. As Casto now overtook Raisin. Tiny right behind. Sector 3, yellow flags. That's a Red Bull, probably Durdan. Jumping on board with Tiny. More than 65% of ERS left. Raisin down to 20. Casto 30. As Yor is still in the lead on old mediums. He will be coming in right now, I think. Yor is staying out. Yor's actually staying out. Sebastian and D'Cunha switching places. And again, Dean running a little bit wide, losing 2 positions. But he just needs that lap. Maybe half a lap to get the tires on over 82, 83 degrees. And then he has grip. And then he can attack both again. Captain Jeff is now pitting. Now we have a proper fight for the net lead. Casto in P2, but net P1. Raisin 8 tenths behind. Tiny 6 behind. 6 tenths. Rob 1 second behind. It is close. As Dean is now very close behind Sebastian. Does he go for the move? Scientist without DRS and without ERS. It's a waiting game. Oi, oi, oi. That was neutral and first gear for Dean. Very unfortunate. Now is to get that car back on track. As long as Sebastian and Scientist are fighting, they're losing time. And they are fighting. Yor is now in the pits. Yellow flag, sector 3. Yor is now in the pits. Let's see where he comes out. Casto now takes the lead. And Yor is, or will come out probably in P6. Ahead of Septek, but that could be close. That could be really close. He will actually come out behind him. As Barry had a spin, I think. He had a spin in sector 1 into turn 1. So Yor is now down to P7, but on fresh softs. Let's see what he can do here. Baruch, 2 tenths of a second behind Rob. Let's take a look at the penalty situation. Baruch only with 13 seconds. Sector 1, yellow flags. That's Captain Jeff. Spinalla. So if Baruch wants to get P4, or at least P6 or 7, he needs to push and overtake Rob ASAP. As Raisin and Tiny are within a second behind Casto, this race is far from being over. Sebastian and Scientist still fighting very hard. Yellow flags in sector 3. That was maybe Septek. Scientist and Sebastian are really losing time. They lost more than a second to Dean just on this lap. And both have penalties. Sebastian with 6, Scientist with 3. They have Barry Kruger ahead of them. This could be really tight until the end of the race. Jeff with another penalty, 6 seconds for him. So Baruch up to 13 seconds. Scientist with 3. Mi scusi. Sebastian with 6. Itchiclear with 3. Jeff with 6. Dordan with 15. We're already up to like 45 seconds of penalties. As Casto gets a 3-second time penalty, which is crucial because he's losing the lead and drops to P3 at the moment. But we still have 3.5 laps to go. Tidy is really pressurizing Raisin now. Sebastian with another penalty. Something happened. Sector 3. Sebastian maybe had a moment here. Dean is going for the overtake. He has him. Now he needs to catch up to Scientist. 4 seconds behind, 3-second time penalty. As Itchiclear lost his car in the last sector. No safety car. And it's really tight at the front. Tiny still with more than 30% ERS. Does he go for the move now? He doesn't. Raisin up to 40, so he saved some ERS now. Castor 30. This will be a last lap shootout. Yor has caught up to Septek, only 6 tenths behind. And with Baruch's penalty, he could gain 2 positions here. Durdan up to 18 seconds of penalty, so he must be very careful to not get disqualified. As something happened to Dean, who spun. Down to P11 for him. P12 now. Harvey overtook him. Sebastian with another penalty. Up to 15 seconds. Oh my god. As Yor is now right behind Septek, overtaking him down the long DRS straight. Easy overtake for him, fresh softs. He's within the 13-second window of Baruch, which means he will catch him, and he still tries to overtake Rob, who's defending very well. Doesn't let Baruch through. And Tiny and Raisin are still stalking Casto. Sector 3, yellow flags. Yep. That is Baruch. Baruch has spun. And he retired. Baruch retired. Rob getting a 3-second time penalty now. But Yor's too far behind. And Raisin is 9 tenths behind Casto. Just getting the DRS. If Tiny can overtake Raisin, then it's P1 for him. If he can, we're switching on board. Raisin is caught up to Casto with the DRS and ERS. He has more than Tiny, so it's very unlikely that Tiny will overtake Raisin. But if Raisin can stay in P2, then he will get the net win. What happens on this last bit of track? Raisin really trying to go for it on track. But in that last sector, it's really, really tricky to overtake. Castro placing his car beautifully here. That's on track P1 for Castro, but it's Raisin who's winning the Abu Dhabi race ahead of Tiny and Castro in P3. Rob coming home in P4. Yaw around the last corner will get P5. Septek in P6. Barry in P7. They don't have any penalties. Scientist will come home in P8. And now it gets interesting because Sebastian got another penalty. 18 seconds. He will be crossing the line right now. Harvey right behind him. He will catch him. So Harvey up to P9. Sebastian P10. But Dean is now crossing the line, which means he will go up to P10. Sebastian down to P11, where he will stay. Jeff and Ichikle right behind each other. Jeff with more penalties, which means Ichikle will get P12, also on track, and Jeff P13. As Durdan comes home in P14, I think. Raisin getting the drive of the day. Not sure where he started, but he finished P1 definitely, so that was a good one. And Aston Martin in P1. Never seen that in real life. But thankfully, this is not the real life. So, Raisin P1. Tiny in P2. Casto in P3 after he received a 3-second time penalty a few laps before the end of the race. Ichikle has left the session. And here we have our final results. Raisin finishing in P1 ahead of Tiny, Casto, Rob, Yaw in P5, Septek behind him, then Barry Kruger, Scientist, Harvey, Dean in P10, followed by Sebastian, Ichikle, Jeff, and Durdan. Barouche in P15. Let's see if he's classified. He is actually classified with 2 laps behind. I don't know what the rule is there if he starts from the back because he didn't DNF on the last lap or whatever. But Walterby definitely won't start on pole. He DNF'd pretty early. Together with Raisin, our only DNFs of the night here in Abu Dhabi. You can stay with the stream because we won't do another one. It's all in one tonight. Round 6 and round 7 in one stream. It's just like a 10-minute break between both races to get the grid sorted. And so that everyone can have a little smoke or piss break. Or like Dean who wants to go to the garden to cool down. Seagulls are really quiet. Normally they're screaming for their life. Oh, the next race ahead is a beauty. It's Singapore. Everyone messes up at Singapore. If we have some rain, we'll probably have a 45-minute race with 3 safety cars included and probably 7 DNFs. That would be absolutely beautiful. But we have to wait and see. I have to use my platform of 2 or 3 live viewers also to say that we wish Mr. Eskimo a speedy recovery. He has a back of an old man that's hurting right now. He was bending over too much, so he has some pain, and he can't reserve tonight or do anything, so we wish you a speedy recovery, cunt. Wild theory from Dean, who said that I got my shoulder done. Dean actually said, you can't hear him because he muted himself for the stream, but he actually said that I have done my shoulder while wanking off Eskimo. He was bending too much, got back pain. I got my shoulder done because of my hobby, and that was it. Shoulder done, back done with just one wank. That's called efficiency. If anyone doesn't like that, please complain to Dean at DiCunha.co on Discord. My 4 live viewers will be amused. Actually 5. Oh, now he's spreading lies. He says he's lying. I don't say anything. Well, that's a bloody lie. That's the Friday lie. So the bad thing is he's hiding behind his muted mic. The bad thing is everyone who listens really thinks that I'm talking to myself and laughing about stuff that's going on in my head, which is like that's insane. Like, it's so bad. It makes me look so fucking stupid. I'm responding to things that no one asked and no one said. Mate, the good thing is you can laugh now, but you have to do the Singapore race, so I'm fine, you're not. Hopefully it rains. Oh, we have 7 live views after the story with the shoulder and the back, probably. Yeah, they heard about the shoulder back thing. Now they're all online. Now they're like, oh, they're talking about the shoulder and the back. We want to hear that. So boys, if you have some time before Sunday's Newton race, just tune in to Dean's stream because he's driving in PSGL2. So I'll turn up and spam him with comments. Six now, 6. So boys, I need to let you know, boys, that he's actually laughing about it. He's laughing about the community. He said there's only 7. Then I corrected him with 6, and he said it's only 6 because he left. He's laughing about my big community. My community is the best. They accept everything. They accept my bad language. So Walter, as you're also on the stream. Who? Eskimo only gets more viewers because he's in a community of like 500 people for 20 years. They just tune in because he opens up a stream. They don't even care what's on. They just open it up so he gets clicks or something. I don't care. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with my 5 live viewers. They are loyal. So Walter, you're also on the YouTube chat, so please let me know if you really decide to do more than 2 laps now in Singapore, because Abu Dhabi was a mess. To be honest, I haven't been in Singapore on this new game. Haven't been driving there. I don't know how that track feels. But if it feels like Portimao, then I really don't need to do it. Like, no fucking league has Singapore on the calendar. PSGL doesn't have it. L2S, no assist doesn't. I think even L2S, like the normal one, doesn't have it. It's just a shit track. It's not even a racetrack. Like, Monaco's on there because Monaco has the history, but Singapore is not even a racetrack. It's so shit. It's like fucking Las Vegas or some shit. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. It could be dirt on pole, could be Barouche. Barouche DNF'd on the screen, like in the results, it said 2 laps before the end of the race. He is classified. Yeah, he's classified, but he didn't DNF on the last lap. He DNF'd on the penultimate lap. Yeah, but let's check. There was an announcement. If a driver DNFs on the last lap and is classified by the game, points will be awarded according to finishing position. However, the driver will not be placed on pole for the next race, and if a driver is deemed to are not on pole, so he will only get maybe 1 or 2 points. That's it. So then it must be Durdan on pole. I think he was also on pole in Abu Dhabi. 2 pole positions straight away. 20 points extra. I don't know. Dean is asking which time we are going again. I responded, I don't know, so you don't think I say I don't know because I don't know. 25 in 3 minutes. I'm gonna start a set of Corsa this weekend. Like ACC. The double C. To get my fucking license. Do you also have ACC? Dean? No! I think it's still on sale in the PS store, like the whole year. I bought it for, I think 15 or something, 15 bucks. And I just want to try it out. Like, I'm not a big fan of GT cars, but it's like, it's a proper sim. Yeah. Yeah, especially now with the direct drive, it should be really good. Oh, nice. Nice, that's good. Yeah, to be honest, I really like the F1 wheel. I've been never driving with the F1 wheel. Always had the GT ones. It's so good. It's so grippy. Yeah, it's a whole new level. Yeah, it's a whole new level. And it's the wheel is so good, like quality wise. You have grip all the time. You know exactly what you do. You don't. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's like cluck cluck cluck. It's so good. You know what you're doing, and it doesn't mess up. With the GT wheel I had before from Thrustmaster, the left pedal shifter got a little bit soft, so I didn't hear the clicks anymore. That was weird. So I was always watching my gears to see how far I was going down. The right one was safe, but weird. Yeah, the old one. Yeah. Oh, it's quite expensive, right? Like 180 to 200. Hmm. My shit quality. Fucking waste of money. Like in hindsight, now with the Fanatec wheel, I can really say that Thrustmaster is okay, but oh my god, yes, yeah. It's like the pedals, the wheelbase, the wheel. It's a whole different ball game. It's completely different. It's a few hundred quids, but if you compare, yeah, if you compare the quality and the experience you get to the one you had before, it's levels. It's levels. And if you compare that to the price you pay, it's it's not cheap. It's not cheap. We don't have to talk about cheap, but even the Thrustmaster stuff isn't cheap. I paid for the wheelbase, the GT wheel, and the GT pedals. I paid like 350, and then I paid another 200 for the load cell brakes, well, like for the load cell pedals. So I was at 550 to 600 with all of it. Now I paid double for the Fanatec stuff, but to be honest, it's worth it. It's a whole new experience. And if I get that shit sold I got for like maybe 300 or 350, then it's kind of a refund. Yeah, that's kind of a refund. It's okay. Yeah, but everyone who's on a Logitech or Thrustmaster and wants to upgrade, for real, go for the CSL-DD. It's the best thing on the market for the price. It's amazing. Like there's a new thing now from it's coming from the USA. It's called Moza, I think. They also have a wheelbase, a DD wheelbase with 9 Newton meters, so 1 Newton meter more, and I think it's $500, $550, and then you also get an F1 wheel for that. That also costs 400 to 500, so it's around the same range of price as 1 Newton meter more, but it's pretty new. So Fanatec is a big player in the game. 5 red lights out, and away we go. Oh, big one. Haas and someone else. That is Jeff and Sebastian who meet. That's Spinella into turn one. Shit is going down. Rob 5 seconds for collision with Kruger. We already have a virtual or forecast safety car. We have a DNF and Barry Kruger. We have penalties. We have a lot of shit going on. This is the start we were hoping for. We have to see what we have. We have a forecast safety car. So Delta is an issue now. Barry Kruger DNF from the race. We have Dirt on the mediums, Tiny on mediums, Baltics, Jorn, Castro, everyone else on soft. So everyone who's on soft tires has now a free pit stop, 4 mediums. And Captain Jeff and Sebastian need to pit. They collided at the start, both into the wall, both lost their wings. Both on softs. As Dean is in P1, Harvey in P2, Dirt on P3, followed by Scientist, Raisin, Tiny, Baruch, Boltex, York, Castor, Walter, Septek, Rob, Sebastian, and Jeff. Let's have a quick look at the position changes. 3 positions up for Dean and Harvey. Durdan went down by 2. Scientist went up by 2. Raisin, big jump, 8 positions. Tiny, 6. Baruch, 7. Boltex, 8. They all started at the back. They all took advantage of the situation ahead of them. Great job. Walter also up by 4 positions to P11. And of course, the big losers are Sebastian and Jeff, who went down by 11 and 13 respectively. As all the soft runners might pit now. Harvey is pitting, but the probability of another safety car is pretty high. And not everyone is pitting. Tiny is staying out on mediums. Boltec staying out on mediums. But most of the soft runs are pitting, and Durdan is getting on the hard tires. More penalties for collisions. A lot of double stacks, so shit is going on in the pits. We'll come back to the whole grid as soon as they're out of the pits. There's some weird shit. Sebdek in P4, he didn't pit on softs. Harvey, the first one who went into the pits, he's out on mediums. Durdan on hards. Hards are, to be honest, the worst tire around Singapore. You can't really heat them up. They have absolutely no grip. And in a 25% race, you don't really need them, to be honest. But of course, Durdan started on mediums. The only chance for him was staying on mediums, so stay out or switch to softs. But he decided to go for the hard tire. Scientists in P7, followed by Raisin, Baruch, Walter, Rob, and Jeff. They're all on mediums. Casto went to soft tires. Sebastian is on fresh mediums, and Yor is on fresh softs. As Dean is complaining about the safety car's pace, as if he would be quicker in normal race pace, but hey, almost hitting the safety car. That's what we like to see on stream live. That's why we're here. And the Alpine, just to confirm, sounds shit. Dean has tried to excuse the Alpine here by saying it's a sound glitch. We all know it's not. The sound is as shit as the management of Alpine. Hashtag Piastri. Tiny in P2, Boltex P3, Septic on softs in P4. And to be honest, I think we will see another virtual or safety car within 1 or 2 laps after the restart. Which means all the media brothers can stay out and finish the race on their tires. The only thing that goes against the strategy would be a late safety car. But we're not here there yet. Castor is pitting again for fresh mediums probably. Now he's putting on the mediums from the start. They're 1 lap old. He's last now, but he has enough space and time to catch up and to warm his tires. Last place, fresh mediums, so he can finish the race on those tires. As he crossed the pit lane exit there a little bit, but didn't get a penalty. Good for you, Casto. I can tell you a story about getting penalties removed for crossing pit lanes. But that's just a personal opinion, nothing more. The safety car will be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Dean will lead the pack. He will dictate the pace. And let's see when he's actually going. Good for him is that he's on softs and Tiny on mediums. And he's going now, and that was a good restart. Tiny's around half a second behind him. And the gap will be bigger after a few corners because the soft tires work better, and someone's losing positions here. It is Captain Jeff, who had a Spinala. Probably some touching going on with Durdan because he's also far off the back. Castro gained those 2 positions. Let's see if anyone really can go for overtakes here. Raisin is pretty close behind Scientist. Using all of his ERS down the inside. Medium versus medium. P6 for Raisin after his overtake against Scientist. And Dean tries to put a gap between himself and Tiny, which is not working at the moment. No changes within the top 5 for the moment. Spinala by Voltex, there is the change within the top 5. He will go down to P13 at least. P14 now. Jeff will probably also overtake him. There we go. Oh, Tiny with a big snap. That cost him 2/10. And Rob is now stalking Scientist. And Raisin is already up to P5 after overtaking Walter and Baruch, and Rob really wants to have P7 here. Sorry, P8. Rob is really close to Scientist. Better exit for him. Down the inside, putting the nose in. That's the game they both know. But Scientist staying ahead for the moment. As Harvey just overtook Septek and Raisin too. And Dean spun from the lead. Raisin up to P3. Harvey up to P1 all of a sudden. Tiny P2, but now Raisin goes for P2. Does Tiny have damage? We can't see any damage on his car, but he will probably feel it. Yeah, he's losing time to Harvey and Raisin here. And he's coming to the pits, so there is damage to Tiny's car. And Captain Jeff is done. And we have another virtual all full car safety car, something. It is a full safety car, confirm. Tiny is pitting right now for his fresh wings, so good timing for him. He's on fresh softs, let's see if they can survive, but probably they will. Durdan, Dean and Boltex also in the pits. They need to, of course. No doubt about that. And Yor needs to still be in his Delta. He's in P14. And he probably won't overtake those guys, because he still has to stay in the Delta. He now overtakes it, but let's see if it stays like that after turns 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, it will be staying like that, so you're in P12 now. So let's have a look who still needs to pit. There's only one guy on track who still needs to pit, and that is Septek in P3. Everyone else has pitted, and everyone else is on medium tires, so they can all finish the race. We have Septek on 5-lap-old softs who still needs to pit, and then we have Tiny and Boltex on fresh soft tires. No penalties at the moment, which is weird. But they will probably come as Harvey is faking a pit stop. Razor not falling for it, and Septek is now coming in. He will lose a lot of positions, probably down to P9 for him. As Castor is also pitting for fresh soft, so will be P8 for Septek and P9 for Castor. Oh, Tiny's coming down the main straight. He could catch Castor. Castor again going over the pit exit line. Staying ahead of Tiny. No penalty for Castor. You can thank the fucking penalty gods for that. I would have given you 5 seconds straight away. Dean is getting a 5-second penalty for crossing the pit lane exit wide line. I'm not surprised, because this is an actual crime in the Formula 1 world. You need to get penalized for that. It's crucial. And he's pitted for fresh softs. And bad thing for him is he's pretty far off the pack. Let's see if the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap or will stay out. If it doesn't stay out, it's critical. But it seems like it will be staying out. So bad thing, of course, is that Dean has the 5 seconds to his name. Especially after the safety car, but you never know what will happen in this race. I'm still missing a little bit of rain. Haven't seen that yet. Harvey is leading the pack ahead of Raisin, Baruch, Scientist, Rob, Sebastian and Walter B, all on 6-lap-old mediums. Septek in P8 has 1 lap fresh mediums. Boltex getting a 3-second time penalty. Interesting. Castor in P9 on fresh softs, Tiny in P10 on fresh softs, Third on P11, Yo on P12, followed by Dean and Bultex. Dean and Boltex are now catching the pack. The safety car is really slow in the second sector. Harvey taking a very wide line to not crash into it. And everyone is leaving good gaps to the drivers ahead of them. Safety car will be coming in on this lap, and Harvey is already leaving a gap to the safety car. So he can decide when he wants to go, because with that gap he has full flexibility. But of course Raisin won't be asleep. You have to be careful. Safety car still needs to get ahead. It's not close to pit lane. Will take another few seconds. And now the safety car's turning into the pits. And Harvey is going. Barouche completely slept. And Raisin is right there, already attacking Harvey down the inside into turn 1. Side by side. Harvey staying ahead, and Barouche now caught up because of that little fight. Harvey still P1. Raisin pressurizing him. Faking an overtake down the inside, backing off, but compromising Harvey's lap, and now down the inside, still faking it. And Harvey's reacting to it every time. Walter against Sebastian. There's some shit going on. 2 cars the wrong way. It is Sebastian and Septek. Septek lost his wing. Sebastian probably has damage too. And I think Walter was involved with that. I'm not sure. It is Tiny who completely lost his front wing here. That should be an easy one for Castor down the inside. It is an easy one. So Tiny completely lost his wing, down to P8 now. And still 6.5 laps to go. Rob is stalking Scientist. Fight for P4. Whoa! Last corner, Rob had much more speed in there than Scientist. Using his ERS now. Down the inside into turn 1. He is there. He takes the inside. He got it. P4 for Rob. Scientist P5. Tiny, Sebastian and Septek all in the pits now, as Dicunia and Boltex are fighting for position here for P10. And Walter and Casto are hunting Scientist down, who's losing time to Rob. Walter being P6, Casto in P7, and then there's a gap of more than 3 seconds to Durdan in P8. Yellow flags in Sector 2, that is Dean. Maybe another safety car, I wouldn't be surprised. Green flags again. As Walter and Castor, oi, 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 oi. Walter completely missing his braking point here. Going straight on, not hitting Scientist, but down to P9 now. And he sees Boltex, and Boltex has lost his wing. Boltex without a wing in P10. Yor is going for Durdan. He will catch him now down to turn number 1. Probably. Yes, that's a smooth overtake. P7 for him. And Casto is in Scientist gearbox, fighting for P5. Castor with a lot more straight line speed. He just passes by Scientist easily. P5 for him, 2.5 seconds behind Rob, who himself is 3.5 behind Baruch. Raisin is 1.2 behind Harvey, so Harvey did a great job by putting some time between himself and Raisin, getting him out of DRS, and having quite of a comfortable race from now on lap 11 or 15. No really close battles or fights right now, but Yor is catching Scientist bit by bit. Walterby desperately trying to recover from his little moment just one lap before, catching up to Durdan to get at least P8 back. As Razor has tried really hard to get back into the DRS of Harvey. Sector 3, yellow flags. That is a Red Bull. That is Walter in the wall. Wing damage. And Durdan... Durdan slowing down for his teammate, then pitting to make them double stack. But before doing that, crossing the pit entry line, getting 5-second time penalty. And yeah, I think we don't need to comment any further on that. That looked really weird. It is what it is, and I think Tiny has just set the fastest lap at 140.6. Well done, lad. Boltex overtaking Durdan, who's in the pits, and crossing the pit lane exit line too. So that's 10 seconds for going in and out of the pits. And Walterby's teammate lost the position against Septek and will lose the position against Sebastian too. We're down to P13 for Walter. And Yor has caught up to Scientist. Castor to Rob, but right now we're on board with Yor against Scientist in the last sector. We're gonna jump back to Castor because he will be the first within DRS range. Needs to slow down here to not touch Rob. And now he will have DRS on Rob, but he will do it on the next big straight probably. Let's see what Yor's doing. Yor's going for the overtake into turn 1. He doesn't have the patience to wait any longer. P6 for him. Castor P5. He sees Rob ahead of him struggling. Castor on softs, Rob on mediums. Both using ERS, DRS for Castor. He's much quicker. Rob and Castor touch him because Rob is moving over to Castor, which is kind of unnecessary. And Castor pushed him a little bit wide as a revenge for that. And they're fighting very, very hard here. And Rob is touching the wall, hammering his wing into the wall. Big damage for him. Yor P5, Scientist P6, Rob P7 with big damage. He completely lost his wing. Tiny is half a minute behind him, but he could catch up to him, including the pit stop. There's still a lot of time in there. Sebastian, 3-second time penalty in P13. Harvey's gap to Raisin, 1.4. No threat there. As Septek is now pretty close to Durdan, fighting for P10. Durdan with 13 seconds of penalties, and trust me, none of those will get removed. And Septek trying to find the gap. Sector 2 yellow flags. That's a McLaren. That is Tiny. What the fuck are you doing, mate? What the fuck are you doing? Rob has massive damage and you just copy him. That's also damage to your car. That's the front wing damage and probably also the rear wing. That is some proper bullshit, mate. He's again half a minute behind Rob. What is Rob doing? Rob is pitting. So if Tiny stays out, he could finish ahead of Rob, but I don't know. Maybe he's pitting, playing it safe, but he will lose a lot of positions. And Tiny will be staying out. He stays out. He goes for it. Whatever it is, but he goes for it. And he overtakes Rob, who's coming out of the pits now. Rob on fresh softs, but his softs are cold. Side by side with Bultex, who's running very wide there. And now Rob is warming up his tires like a madman. Septek still behind Durda, but now he will catch him. DRS and ERS at work, down the inside, easy move for him. That's P10 for Septek. Raisin now 2 seconds behind Harvey. That's a comfortable race for Harvey. Very good performance. As Baruch gets a 3-second time penalty, so P2 is out of the window for him here. But the gap to Castro is more than 7 seconds, so he's safe here. Durdan in P11 with those 13 seconds of penalties could go back to last place if Sebastian and Dean are pushing a little bit harder on this last lap. And I think for them it's not even the last lap. It's P14 and a bit as Dean goes for the overtake and Sebastian, but they shouldn't be fighting. They should work together now. What is Tiny doing? Tiny on the last lap. Rob 1 second behind him on fresh softs. He will get him. So Tiny will probably only lose 1 position here because of his damage. Yeah, Rob will overtake him now. ERS and DRS at work. Easy peasy for him. As Harvey goes down into the last corner, crossing the finish line. P1 for Harvey. Dominant performance. Ray's in P2. Baruch in P3. Casto coming home in P4. You're in P5 after very good performance here. Scientist will probably come home in P6. As Dean and Sebastian are still fighting very hard. And we will look at those situations right now. As Rob is in P7, Tiny behind. Septek has closed the gap to Bultex. Will get P9 if nothing severe happens. But Durdan is the one with the 13 seconds. And it seems like Dean won't catch him. Rob with the fastest lap. That's big for him. P7 and fastest lap. An extra point that could be really important. Sebastian getting another 3-second time. But it's Septek DNF'd! Septek actually DNF'd from this race. Septek DNF'd in the last corner. So Walter up to P10. Durdan P11. Sebastian also DNF'd. And Dean will come home in P12. Septek actually DNF'd in the last corner. Sebastian DNF'd on the last lap. What the actual fuck? Yeah. How fucked up is fucked up. That is fucked up. Fucking hell. I know that for most of you guys this is just a hobby, but get your shit together. DNF on the last fucking corner or lap. That is heavy. Here are final results. Harvey P1, Raisin P2, Baruch P3. Casto in P4, followed by your Scientist, Rob, Tiny, Boltex, Walter B in P10, Durdan P11, Dean P12, and then our DNFs on the last lap, Septek in P13, and Sebastian in P14, Jeff and Barry Kruger both DNF'd way earlier. So that means those 4 will start at the back for our next race next week. But Septek and Sebastian will probably get points for P13 and 14. And that is that from Singapore after a 30-minute race, which is a long time. Rob getting fastest lap by miles because he was on fresh softs on his last lap. Thank you all for joining tonight. We will catch each other next week for rounds 8 and 9, I think. Don't know which track's on, but that's a huge surprise, as you can all watch it back on Discord. Also, make sure to vote for your driver of the day in the community driver of the day section on Discord. You can vote for your driver of the day in Abu Dhabi and in Singapore, and that driver will get an extra point in the championship. So have a great weekend, boys, and stay fuckable. See you later.